Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome to the night shift. It's Tuesday night, a healthy love night. How are you doing? Glad to have you. Couldn't do it without you, and I promise you I wouldn't even try. Who? All of you. Big ups to all those who have it locked on TuneIn Radio, the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, Rockthebox.net, Foundation Radio Network, One Harmony Radio, whichever affiliate station is tuned in and broadcasting the show right now. Big ups to you. Thank you very much. Truly appreciate of you. To those who are locked in on PEMGTV.com, big ups to you. And of course, those here at the home of the night shift, KevinStew.com. Welcome. If you're not there yet and you want to be interactive, the stew pot is available. KevinStew.com. Just jump on in. The water is always fine. It's a judgment-free zone. You can talk your mind. Just don't curse. That's all. One simple rule. Kicking it off with new music from Natisha Stream and Busy Signal. Or Busy Signal featuring Natisha Stream. It's called Feel So Right.
Real love, she no misdemeanor like missy. She rotate the waistline and kissy. Youngster, she want, she no want, not a damn sissy. She sniff me out when me spray on me issy. Now left me side, she stick on palm me like Vicky. And me alone, she give the secret in the Vicky. She knows I'm on a hot end, and if you treat it, I go sticking.
I don't wanna wait for love. I don't want nobody else but you. You make me feel so good. I wanna give you my love. I wanna give you this feeling. That is for you. Oh, it feels so good when you touch my body. You close into my arms.
It feels so right when I'm with you, baby. All the time. No. She don't want to make a plasma. She love her fist, want to make a rasma. Push it on her, she catch asthma. Turn to this height, let me give you that sitting down where you ask for. So ride on, baby. Me love how you wine on, baby. If a bedroom work, me response for. You are the thing in the pants, and me roots are me sponsor.
Oh, I'm gonna give you my love, 'cause you treat me right. Gonna stick by you like Sheba, like King Solomon's son. Gonna give you my all. All you want to know, 'cause I got this love for sure. Oh, it feels so good when you touch my body. You close into my arms.
It feels so right when I'm with you,
When I'm with you, baby.
Thank you to Paul C Media Group for sponsoring this segment of the show. When being in the moment is priceless, you want to give them a link. 754-999-6020. Or you can visit them online at pulseemg.com. If you want to do something like what you're watching right here on kevinstew.com, they can hook you up. You just want to capture a moment, stills, video. You want to stream a moment. Pulse Media is your one-stop shop. Now, thank you, Business Signal. Thank you, Natisha Stream. Tonight, we are... Hey, Julian. Welcome. We're looking at this herd immunity thing. There's a... As doing my healthy love research, as I normally do, and things that relate to vaccinations always catch my eye. And if you're a long time listener to the show, you know how I feel about this vaccination thing. And if we've ever been in conversation or true conversation, you would have heard my viewpoint as it relates to vaccination, especially the vaccination regimen that children are subjected to. Now, in my research, I came across this interesting story on herd immunity, and I don't know how familiar you guys are with herd immunity. It's pretty much what we've been subjected to from, I don't know, ever since, with the vaccinations that have always been out. It's the whole idea of, let's go ahead and vaccinate the community. If everybody is protected, then nobody should get sick, kind of a deal. And recently an article was done about the renewed calls for state legislatures to eliminate personal belief vaccine exemptions and restrict medical exemptions, and how California State Senator Dr. Richard Pan of Sacramento is even urging the U.S. Surgeon General to push mandatory vaccinations to the top of the federal public health agenda, which is really interesting. And according to Pan, unwarranted vaccine hesitancy is a threat to public health, as it prevents community immunity, which protects our children and the most vulnerable. He believes mandating vaccines, as was done for smallpox during the Revolutionary War, would protect our right as Americans to be free of preventable diseases. Which is really interesting, because we're still getting these preventable diseases. Strange, right? But true. So, what exactly is he talking about? He's talking about achieving and maintaining so-called vaccine-acquired herd immunity. The theory which maintains that once a majority of people have been vaccinated, the infectious disease in question can no longer spread and everybody is protected, including the tiny minority who, for whatever reason, are not or cannot be vaccinated. There's a small problem with this argument. If you want to chime in, by the way, the stew pot again is available, but not only is the stew pot available, but you can call or you can text 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. That's the number that gets you in touch. So you don't have to be shy. Just connect. Air your view. Feel free. So the problem with the argument of herd immunity is it doesn't work for vaccines. While there is such a thing as herd immunity among populations in which the majority has had the infectious disease and acquired a long-standing natural immunity, vaccines only give a temporary artificial immunity. And so true herd immunity is unlikely to be fully achieved, even if the nearly 100% of the population are vaccinated. Interesting, isn't it? The measles vaccine, as an example, wears off after about 10 to 20 years. Now, whatever temporary artificial protection is obtained from other vaccines also goes away in time. So if you're an adult, chances are some of the vaccinations that you had as a child, you're not getting the protection from them right now as an adult. And what's even more interesting is that between 2 and 10% of some vaccines result in primary vaccine failure. What does that mean? It means those who get the vaccine do not gain any temporary artificial protection after the vaccination. So you've heard of cases where people have gotten like the flu vaccine and have come down gravely ill with the flu because you have that percentage, that minor percentage, that it just doesn't work. Now, public health officials are recommending adults born in and after 1957 to get revaccinated against measles. Since the Disney-related measles outbreak in 2015, you remember that? Some public health doctors are even suggesting all adults, not just those born in and after 1957, but all adults to get MMR booster, the measles, mumps, rubella. Because as many as 1 in 10 previously vaccinated adults may be susceptible to measles due to the fading of the vaccine-acquired immunity. So it's going away. Now, it is quite possible that revaccinating adults would not achieve herd immunity for measles. It's not that it's a foregone conclusion that yes, this is definitely a win for vaccines because it will work, it's guaranteed to work, and it has been proven to work. There's no guarantee. It is quite possible that adults will still not have that herd immunity. Dr. Alexander Langmuir is known as the father of infectious disease epidemiology. And in 1949, he created the epidemiology section of what became the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. He also headed the polio surveillance unit, founded in 1955, after polio vaccine safety issues became public. Notice, after it became public, which means that they always knew that there were some safety issues. Of course, again, we know that I have this thing about these vaccinations, these doubts and questions that I'm sure some others have those questions and doubts too, and have not received answers. Now, according to Langmuir, and actually many other experts too, 1 dose of the measles vaccine was supposed to eradicate a common childhood disease. But did that happen? No, it didn't. The early 1980s, more than 95% of children entering school in the US had received a dose of measles containing vaccine. But in 1989 to 1990, there were outbreaks of measles among school-age children and college students. Public health officials responded by recommending a second dose of MMR vaccines for all children. In an article published in the Clinical Microbiology Reviews in 1995, researchers said measles, which was targeted for elimination from the United States in 1979, persisted at low incidence until 1989, when an epidemic swept the country. Cases occurred among appropriately vaccinated school-age populations and among unimmunized inner-city preschool children. Let me say that again. Cases occurred among appropriately vaccinated school-age populations as well as unimmunized inner-city preschool children. In response to the epidemic, measles immunization recommendations have been modified. And to prevent the spread among school-age populations, a second dose of MMR vaccine is recommended at age 5 to 6 or 11 to 12 years of age. A 1994 study looking at measles incidence in Cape Town, Africa, indicated that as vaccination rates increased, measles became a disease in populations where the majority of children had been vaccinated. Not that they have not been vaccinated. They had been vaccinated. And the incidence of measles increased. Now, the immunization coverage was 91% and vaccine efficacy was estimated to be 79%. And according to the authors, the epidemiology of measles in Cape Town has thus changed as evidenced in this epidemic, with an increase in the number of cases occurring in older, previously vaccinated children. The possible reasons for this include both primary and secondary vaccine failure. So, let me ask a question now. Is it that the vaccine that were being given was not properly tested? Is it that the vaccine was properly tested but not properly concocted? Or is it that it was just a money-making venture? Anybody else have any other questions? Because I could be out on, I don't know, a piece of drifting logwood right now, just by myself. I don't know. But anybody else have similar questions? 773-789-STEW gets you in touch. 773-789-7839. Or you can jump into the chat room, the Stew Pot on kevinstew.com. So, this allegedly startling surprise challenged the theory that vaccine-induced herd immunity would provide complete protection against outbreaks of measles. The CDC has also admitted, and reports in the medical literature have documented, that measles outbreaks occur both in highly vaccinated school populations and among vaccinated adult populations. So, how it go? Are we then to believe that the measles strain is different? Or just that the whole idea of this vaccination doesn't work anymore because of other contributing factors? Right. The things that we are consuming, the things that we're exposed to in our environment. Could that now play a role in the inefficacy of the vaccination? I don't know. 20 minutes after the hour. A recent example of measles outbreaks in a highly vaccinated population occurred in Israel in 2017 in a military population ranging in age from 19 to 37, which had high measles vaccination coverage. Again, this is a military population. Typically, they get vaccinated for everything and some. The first two patients identified had both received 2 doses of measles vaccine. Patient 0, a 21-year-old soldier, had documentation of having received 3 doses, according to the CDC. Not 1, not 2, 3 doses. All patients, except 1, had high measles IgG avidity. which is an indicator of previous vaccinations or previous infection. Now, because all the serum specimens, except that from the primary patient, all the serum specimens were collected 2 to 3 days after the onset of symptoms. The high avidity IgG was assumed to be a result of patients' previous vaccination. And although outbreaks of measles among vaccinated populations have been reported worldwide, most outbreaks in Israel have occurred in an unvaccinated or partially vaccinated population. Measles transmission from a vaccinated person with documented secondary vaccine failure also has been described in New York City in 2011. And according to, including among vaccinated healthcare providers, and in the Marshall Islands also. Now, waning of vaccine-induced immunity is a phenomenon that actually needs to be addressed. So, of course, that includes more studies, more guinea pigs, and more top secret results. Because let's face it, how many of these tests, the actual results are shared with the general population? Right. And another example is a 2014 study conducted in the Zhejiang province in China. Researchers found that populations which have achieved a measles vaccination rate of 99% through mandatory vaccination programs are still experiencing consistent outbreaks far beyond what the WHO expects, the World Health Organization. But hold on, there's more. 93.6% of the 1,015 participants in this study tested seropositive for measles antibodies, which theoretically means they should have been protected against the disease. Now, I'm going to pause for a moment. There's more information here, but let me jump on over to my personal thinking when it comes to the flu vaccine. The flu is one of those viruses that have this characteristic called antigenic drift, which means I get the flu, you get the flu from me. The strain of the flu that you're going to pass on to someone else is different from the one that you got from me, because it changes as it transfers from person to person. Even better than that, the flu that you get this year is different from the flu that you got last year. So, with all this in mind, when you're getting a flu vaccination, what are you getting? And if we take into consideration what we've already learned from what is being discussed here with the measles vaccinations, then with vaccine failure and the fact that even with something like measles where the antibodies are present and you still get the condition, the artificial immunity that you get is not working. I have said this, and you can take it, you can leave it, you can dispute it. You give me an artificial virus, I'm pretty sure that my body is going to work to fight that artificial virus and develop an artificial virus immunity. when the real virus comes around, the antibodies that work against the artificial virus are not the same antibodies that are going to work against the real virus. So why do I need this vaccination? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that vaccinations don't help. But give us all the information. We're not getting all the information here. And if we were getting all the information, then there wouldn't be need for research into things like this, where vaccinated individuals are still getting a virus. How does that work? Anyway, I'm going to finish up this before I jump to this break. So, the herd immunity threshold for vaccine-acquired artificial immunity is thought to be between 80 and 95%, depending on the disease in question. For measles, it's 90 to 95%. But even though 94% of individuals had antibodies against measles in the case in China, an outbreak still happened. Persistent reports of measles and other infectious diseases for which vaccines have been developed and given in multiple doses to most children calls the concept of vaccine-acquired herd immunity into question. Basically, the same questions I just asked. Some more educated people than me, which, given the line of work that they do, would be a whole bunch of them. Because I haven't studied this stuff. I don't know what goes into creating a vaccine and how long they take to do tests and what they do tests on and cell growth and all of these things, and I don't know. I've never looked into it. I've never studied it. But for my feeble mind, looking in, it doesn't add up. There's no reason why I should be vaccinated against something and said to be protected against it and still get it afterwards. Not immediately to say, okay, it is your body reacting to, but years later, when you're supposed to have the protection, you're dealing with the disease. That not quite right. For me and the Chinese, something wrong. Something very wrong. Apologies to my Chinese friends. But you get it. So, we're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we're going to look at natural versus vaccine-induced immunity. What are the things to consider? What are we looking at with the two cases? Call a friend, tell a friend. It's the night shift. It's Healthy Love Night, and we're talking about herd immunity and what we are not being told about it. We'll be right back.
Pulse Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulsing Media Group.
Are you crazy about the music industry? You aspire to hit it big in music? Or maybe you've sweated out a soulful killer beat and are now stuck finding it's not as easy as it looked. Oh, but it can be easy for you with JTMC. We've been there, we know how it feels, so we solve challenges like production, promotion, marketing, branding and development, and more. With over 30 years of experience, JTMC is a one-stop shop for artists. We handle your graphic design, writing services, PR as well as event planning, e-blasts, artist management and bookings, so also your website and social media needs as well. We're experts in using creativity to persuade audiences on behalf of artists, drawing on our diverse experience to create projects that connect with audiences intellectually and emotionally. Artist success is everything to us, and our years of experience and commitment will be behind you for every one of your needs. If you've got music for the world to hear, whether you're a new or established artist, visit us at jtmcenterprise.com.
Roll out with Island Rock Music and have fun. Check out the quality apparel at islandrockmusic.com. Designed for you and your crew. Hear the music, feel the breeze, with selected tracks and more. Available now from the online store at islandrockmusic.com. islandrockmusic.com. Log on today and ride with us.
Stepping, these are roots vibrations. Stepping.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com, your links to worship and praise.
I'm representing for DJ Kevin Stew, working on the night shift radio show. Won't go changing like the weather, just to please the devil never. Will DJ Kevin Stew sell his soul? That's a word and honor. It's Christine representing word and honor. Selassie DJ Kevin Stew.
Waking up to my dream. Alright. I can't say it's been this way my whole life, but take a look at my team. Alright. Baby, do you see anything that you like? Cause you're about to get sweets at the AAA. Sip fine wine Cabernet. Private elevator rides to my high-rise getaway. But don't forget about me. Alright. Baby, check verify. But when you think about me, alright, darling, if you see anything that you like, just ask for what you want. Girl, ask for what you want. Just look in my eyes and ask for what you want. Girl, ask for what you want. Baby, open your mouth and ask for what you want. Girl, ask for what you want. Baby, look in my eyes and ask for what you want. Girl, ask for what you want. Don't be shy, speak your mind. Bonjour, mommy. Enchanté. Tell me where your dreams are. I'll take you right away. No time to be shy. Everything's fair play. Yeah. Baby, if you see anything that you like, just ask for what you want. Ask for what you want.
I want to welcome you back to the show.
Ask for what you want. Ask for what you want.
It's the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew, Healthy Love Night.
Ask for what you want. Girl,
I want to say thanks to GMAT Music Solutions for sponsoring this segment of the show,
open your mouth and ask.
providing you with lights and stage production services, musical equipment, PA systems, engineers, DJs, musicians, singers.
Just look in my
Just give them a call, 754-307-GMAC, or visit them at gmatmusicsolutions.com and tell them, hey, DJ Kevin Stew sent you. Working out to the Alexander Star featuring Echo Slim. New music called Ask for What You Want. And how do you ask for what you want? 773-789-STEW or 773-789-7839. Of course, you can also jump into the Stew Pot at kevinstew.com and you can get what you want. Simple enough, right? Just ask. No, you can ask what you want. I can't guarantee that you'll get what you want. So, we're talking about herd immunity and looking at the things that we weren't told about it. And I mentioned that before we went on the break, that when we came back, we're going to be looking at natural versus vaccine-induced immunity. Now, a key factor to consider is that many vaccines do not provide long-lasting or lifelong immunity. Vaccines only confer temporary, artificial, let me emphasize that, artificial immunity. And actually, sometimes they actually fail to do that. And this has been shown to have been important, to have important generational ramifications. And that is never pretty. Infants under age 1 who used to be protected in the first year of life by getting natural maternal antibodies from their mothers who had experienced and recovered from measles in childhood are now susceptible to measles from birth. Yeah. Things have changed. And unfortunately, they have not changed for the better. Okay, so you have some conspiracy theories on the matter. Again, texting also gives the whole secrecy. You know, you tell me something, I may share it on the show, but your name will remain secret. So if that's what you're worried, if you're worried about someone calling your name, you send me a text message, you're sending it to me, but information that you'd want to share, I don't have a problem sharing it and keeping your name out of it. So you can remain anonymous. That's an option too. But so you have theories about why herd immunity cannot work, and I'd really love to hear them. If I don't think they vary a whole lot from anything that I've said on this show before, but I'd love to hear them. So I've had discussions with Dr. J Love about this before, and she has also shared where in the first 2 years of life, if we were to think back, the first 2 years of life, children were allowed I don't even know if I should use the privilege of developing their own immunity before getting a vaccine. No, that doesn't happen. And here it is. Infants under age 1 who used to be protected in the first year of life by getting natural maternal antibodies from their mothers now are susceptible to measles from birth. That's crazy. So you're telling me that the vaccine that the mother got killed their natural antibodies? Is that how that works? So children now have no choice but to get the artificial immunity. That sounds like that truly sounds like it happens by design. If there's one thing that you'll hear me talk about, especially on a Tuesday, show in, show out, Big Pharma is the biggest business in this country, and it has its hand in everything. It has its hand in politics, it has its hand in farming, and of course it has its hand in the healthcare industry. And the same people that sit at the top are the ones who are lining their pockets because they're benefiting from all ends. Because they're selling these drugs that treat the symptoms of whatever it is that ails you, they will constantly get that recurring dollar. And if they can contribute to whatever it is that ails you in the first place, to make sure that something ails you, they're guaranteed that money. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but how far-fetched is it really? So these children are now susceptible to measles from birth. And that is because most young mothers today have been vaccinated, and measles vaccine acquired maternal antibodies are far less protective than naturally acquired antibodies. And to understand why this is so, you need to understand a little bit about how your immune system works. Here we go. There are two systems that fight disease in the body. One is the innate system that is always ready to work, and the other is the adaptive arm of immunity. The adaptive arm consists of Th1 and Th2. Both are necessary, but Th1 is commonly known as the cell-mediated arm. Th2 is known as the humoral or antibody arm. Now, most vaccines preferentially stimulate the Th2 or the humoral part of the immune system. Measured antibodies in the blood, antibody titers, may be reflective of partial immunity. But it is not a perfect correlate to fully immunity that involve both innate, your cellular, and humoral, your adaptive immune responses, such as those obtained after recovery from a viral or bacterial infection. The benefit of only measuring humoral immunity as a means of measuring vaccine effectiveness is that it can be easily determined by drawing blood samples and conducting lab tests. If specific vaccine-induced antibodies are present in the blood and judged to be in high enough quantities, the person is presumed to be immune to that infection and thus protected. Evidence of the profound importance and effectiveness of the innate and Th1 immune system can be demonstrated in individuals who are unable to genetically generate antibody production, a condition called agamma globulinemia. Agamma globulinemia. So you get the gamma part, you got the globules in there, and anemia, which is pretty much the deficiency of the virus. The condition. When individuals with this condition were exposed to measles, they recovered just as well as those who were able to make normal antibodies. They also had protection in the future upon re-exposure. Interesting, right? Now, this discovery was made in the 1960s when measles vaccination programs was just getting underway, and demonstrates that the production of antibodies is not necessary for the natural recovery from measles and acquisition of protective immunity. Other research published in 2011 demonstrated that antibody-mediated immunity is not necessary to neutralize viruses like vesicular stomatitis virus, VSV, again calling into question the idea that elevations in vaccine-induced antibody titers are necessary to produce immunity against all infectious diseases. The body can take care of itself. This is why playing in the dirt was important when a bunch of us were children. And this is why we were allowed to get sick, so to speak. Because when you get sick and they tell you go rest, go sleep. Let the body run its course. The body is developing antibodies and fighting off whatever virus that is present. And so now, I remember when I started doing biology and looking at how the immune system works, and the analogy of police officers was used. So inside the body are these little police officer cells that are running around. So the police station, your immune system, sends out these little policemen when there's an infection, and they hunt down these viruses, these bad guys. And as they hunt them down, they make sure that they get their pictures and get their fingerprints and their DNA and put it in the system, so that if anybody else that match their characteristics show up, they know that I need to deal with them kids, because they're not allowed to come into the body. So now you have border patrol on lock. And that analogy kind of stuck with me. I still managed to fail a few biology tests, but I got it. And that worked for me. This is basically what they're saying. The body can take care of itself. So why then the whole vaccine thing? The inability to actually achieve herd immunity for many infectious diseases is by far not the only problem. There's more. Using mathematical analysis to explore how modern era vaccination practices have changed the risks of severe outcomes for some infections by changing the landscape for disease transmission, researchers have found that by delaying the age of infection with vaccination, the health risks are exponentially increased in vulnerable age groups within populations. This Lancet Infectious Disease study found that negative outcomes are 4.5 times worse for measles, 2.2 times worse for chickenpox, and 5.8 times worse for rubella than would be expected in a pre-vaccine era in which the average age at infection would have been lower. Which means that you'd have a younger, stronger sect of the population that would have gotten this virus. Remember the whole idea of survival of the fittest? Natural selection? Yes, some lives could potentially be lost. But how much healthier of a community would we be living in? What about other countries that don't have the vaccine regimen that the US has? What about their incidences of some of these infectious diseases, some of these viruses? How do they match up? The researchers point out that by making an illness rarer, it also raises the expected severity when the illness arises in vulnerable age groups. Now, the warning issued in this paper is that remaining unvaccinated in a predominantly vaccine-protected community exposes children to the most severe possible outcomes. What was not addressed is the fact that routine vaccinations are increasing the severity of illness that apparently cannot be contained, as outbreaks are still occurring where vaccination rates are high enough that the population should have established vaccine-acquired herd immunity. So, the whole idea is to protect the population against these diseases. But instead, we're making the younger generation more at risk of a more severe outcome from the same disease that they're trying to protect. So let me ask an off-the-wall question here. Which section of the population is more susceptible to this severe outcome? Is there a particular class of people or a particular race of people that could potentially be affected the most from some of these things? Things that make you go, secret message on the text line. Anyone who got vaccinated from MMR was fully protected from those diseases. The measles going around now is man-made. That is why there is no immunity in it. So the disease is now man-made and added to the best vehicle for transmitting illness: food or water. And this is done in order to sell the vaccine. Far-fetched? Not at all. As a matter of fact, I agree completely. That is one of the theories that I have had. One of the things that we've mentioned on this show. So you're right there with us. So we are on this conspiracy theory boat together, and we're sailing off to this place that I don't know what it is that we'll encounter when we get there. But it only makes sense. Sadly enough, scarily enough, it makes sense. And it's what we have to deal with in this country, because the powers that be says, okay, yeah, this is what you're going to be dealing with. So we're left to do nothing but deal with it. When you find legislators saying, hey, this is the agenda we're pushing, they must get vaccinated. Listen, you create the problem and you create a treatment for the problem. If you're the only one that has the treatment for the problem, people have to come to you. And that's what Big Pharma has done. People have to come to them. There's no two ways about it. What are they going to them for? A treatment of the symptoms, not of the cure. Because there's no money involved in the cure. There's money involved in the treatment of the symptoms. Because whereas you'll have temporary relief, as in the case of temporary immunity from these vaccinations, it doesn't cure it. What is a cure? When your body says, okay, you have come in, I have gotten rid of you, you cannot come back. People with chickenpox, typically, you don't get chickenpox more than once. And if it so happens that you get chickenpox a second time, then one of those two versions of chickenpox is something else. And that's all there is to it. Top of the hour. Gonna take a quick little break. Call a friend, tell a friend. The night shift is on, and whew, we're causing problems. But chances are just problems for ourselves. Our problems in our minds. I don't know. I could be wrong. But at least there's one other person who is wrong with me. We're gonna take a quick little break. We'll be right back.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulsemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
I'm in almost every school bus in classroom. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger.
Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help.
Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me. We are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
JTMC Music presents the highly anticipated, much talked about, The Juggling Rhythm Volume 1. This classic rhythm takes on a new life with tracks from both established artists and introduces some incredible new voices. Get your dancing shoes ready with The Juggling Rhythm, featuring international reggae dancehall artist Mr. Vegas, alongside Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson, Jack Radix, Hezron, Dangling, Joanna Marie featuring Galaxy P, Denny Ranks featuring Jawiz, Ambalik, Christine Alicia, Yishka. Also the new sensations on the rhythm: Zeal, Danger Lee, Marquis Skelenar, Zachary. Available on all digital media outlets. The Juggling Rhythm. Get it, get it, get it.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
Hi, this is Cara Manti, and you're listening to DJ Kevin Stew, and this is The Night Shift.
If you can't hear, you must have to feel, must have to feel. Can't hear, you must have to feel, so take it. If you can't hear, you must have to feel, must have to feel. Can't hear, you must have to feel. Hey, ideas, you better change your ways. Ideas, if you want to see longer days. Ideas, time to come off of the street before Babylon turn up the heat. Ideas, you better change your ways. Ideas, if you want to see longer days. Ideas, time to stop one rude before killy come down your food. Stigma sit broken at your ears, make you can't hear. I chat about you a gangster and don't hear. Young but you no know no star. Prison life and no false alarm. Gunshot a lick and it no respect no one, so you better change your direction before you end up in a police station or a worse situation. Ideas, you better change your ways. Ideas, if you want to see longer days. Ideas, time to come off of the street before Babylon turn up the heat. Ideas, you better change your ways. Ideas, if you want to see longer days. Ideas, time to stop one rude before killy come down your food. Beat up your family, refusing to quit. Greed over blood money, tell me is it worth it? I chat about you a bad boy, hey, and I ride like a cowboy. But time longer than rope, don't take it for joke. Check yourself before you wreck yourself and watch what you spoke. It's not too late to take advice, so listen to the words of the wise. Hey, ideas, you better change your ways. Ideas, if you want to see longer days. Ideas, time to come off of the street before Babylon turn up the heat. Ideas, you better change your ways. Ideas, if you want to see longer days. Ideas, time to stop one rude before killy come down your food. You can't hear, you must have to feel.
The sound of Hopeton Lindo working out with Sly and Robbie. The track called Hard Is. I want to say thanks to JTMC Enterprises for sponsoring this segment of the show.
Better change your ways. Ideas,
providing you with tour management, bookings, promotions, event management, social media management, and entertainment. Give them a call, 678-793-8800. Let them know DJ Kevin Stew sent you. I tell you, I have connections with all these people, you know. Hopeton, Lindo, Sly and Robbie. Hard is. So, here is something a little bit on, okay, something else on the interesting side when it comes to vaccinations, and probably something that you weren't privy to before. Nobody had shared this bit of information or anything like that. Vaccination may actually raise your susceptibility to the very illness or other viral illnesses that you're getting vaccinated for. Again, it has happened with flu, where the flu vaccine appears to raise your risk of contracting the other respiratory infections, or a more serious case of the influenza virus. And another example is whooping cough, the pertussis or pertussis. Now, as detailed in a study published in the February 2019 issue of the Journal of Pediatric Infectious Diseases Society, researchers stated the first diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, DTaP vaccines were developed in Japan. Afterward, DTaP vaccines were developed in the Western world, and definitive efficacy trials were carried out in the 1990s. These vaccines were all less reactogenic than DTWP, diphtheria, tetanus, toxoids, whole cell pertussis. And despite the fact that their efficacy was less than that of DTWP vaccines, they were approved in the US and many other countries. Now, DTaP replaced DTWP vaccines in the US in 1997. In the last 13 years, major pertussis epidemics have occurred in the US, and numerous studies have shown the deficiencies of DTaP vaccines, including the small number of antigens that the vaccines contain and the type of cellular immune response that they elicit. The type of cellular response, a predominantly T2 response, results in a less efficacy and shorter duration of protection because of the small number of antigens. Linked epitope suppression occurs. Now stay with me. Because of linked epitope suppression, all children who were primed by DTaP vaccines will be more susceptible to pertussis throughout their lifetimes. And there is no easy way to decrease this increased lifetime susceptibility. How is that? The most important information is right at the end. Children who receive the DTaP vaccines are more susceptible to whooping cough. This elevated susceptibility persists throughout their life, and nothing can be done about it. So, what happened to the first vaccine? What these researchers and public health officials also are not admitting is that the wholesale pertussis vaccines used in the US between the late 1950s and 1997, when the less reactive acellular pertussis vaccine DTaP replaced the more toxic wholesale vaccines, is the B. pertussis organism started mutating into vaccine-resistant forms shortly after wholesale DPT began to be used on a widespread basis by children in the 1950s. Wholesale DPT was failing to control whooping cough in the 1980s and was found to have inferior efficacy compared to the purified DTaP vaccines tested in worldwide clinical trials in the 1990s. As early as 1965 and all through the 1980s and 1990s, public health officials in the US and Europe knew that wholesale pertussis vaccine in DPT was not preventing infections in many ways vaccinated children and previously vaccinated adults. In many of the vaccinated children and adults. And this is what Barbara Lowe Fisher, co-founder and president of the National Vaccine Information Center, NVIC, in a report on pertussis vaccines published in the newsletter during Vaccine Awareness Week in 2018. Just like before DPT vaccination programs, pertussis increases continued to be reported in cycles of 3 to 5 years, including in the US, where 95% of children had gotten 3 to 5 DPT shots. Between 1986 and 1996, multiple clinical trials confirmed that the less reactive acellular DTaP vaccine demonstrated superior efficacy and effectiveness compared to the old, more reactive DPT vaccine. Despite this knowledge, health authorities feign surprise when pertussis outbreaks occur and continue to blame it on vaccine hesitancy driven by misinformation. So you may have heard that highly contagious B. pertussis whooping cough is spreading among teenage students at Harvard Westlake schools, 2 campuses in LA County in California. As of February 27, 30 students have fallen ill. As of the 27th of February, it is the 12th of March. What's important to note is that all of the students who contracted the illness were vaccinated. All of them. School officials admit that inadequate vaccine coverage is definitely not the problem in this case, as only 18 of the 1,600 students in the entire school system have exemptions to opt out of whooping cough vaccines, and none of those 18 are sick. Not one. NVIC's Fisher warns that the failures of DTaP vaccine are prompting some researchers today to suggest that the old wholesale pertussis vaccine, driven off the market in 1996, should be brought back to the US and given to infants for the first 1 or 2 doses. They want to prime little 6 to 8 week old babies with all the bioactive toxins in the wholesale pertussis vaccine crude brew. For some reason, they think it is worth the risk to pretend like they have fixed the problem. But clearly, the business of treating whooping cough is that much more profitable than the business of curing it. So, is there really a rapid increase in preventable diseases? Or are the vaccine failures just becoming more pervasive and vaccine reactions more noticeable? Let's circle back to measles. A recent paper in the Journal of Clinical Microbiology describes new technology developed to rapidly distinguish between measles cases and vaccine reactions to avoid unnecessary outbreak response measures, such as case isolation and contact investigations, according to this paper. And it says, during the measles outbreak in California in 2015, a large number of suspected cases occurred in recent vaccinees. Of the 194 measles virus sequences obtained in the US in 2015, 73 were identified as vaccine sequences. In other words, about 38% of the suspected measles cases in the 2015 Disneyland measles scare were actually vaccine related and not caused by transmission of wild type measles. And you may also have noticed that each time a measles outbreak occurs, it is always blamed on the unvaccinated. Yet, a portion of those who became sick may actually have been sickened by the vaccine strain measles virus itself. So, what do we do? Where do we go? The media is currently filled with reports of how tech platforms like Google and Facebook and Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, Amazon even, are fueling anti-vax fears and spreading misinformation, or doing nothing to prevent the sharing of vaccine safety related material between users. Pinterest has already responded to calls for censorship and now blocks all vaccine related searches. Did you know that? Amazon has also pulled 5 vaccine documentaries from its streaming Prime platform, all of which question the safety of vaccines. It is difficult to express just how harmful the censorship is for public health, and what the ramifications will be if these platforms implement censoring tactics to prevent information about vaccine safety, or rather the lack of vaccine safety, from being accessed. So, you heard me mention that Big Pharma is involved in everything, right? I had left out the media, because they are there too. How else are they going to get information out, or prevent information from leaking out? It is especially upsetting when health authorities, Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, among them, make statements that are in absolute contradiction to established scientific facts. In January, Fauci did an interview with CBS News and flat out denied the fact that vaccines can cause injury or death. This despite the fact that Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, NICP, created under the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act of 1986, has paid out nearly $4 billion in awards for vaccine damage and death. And that's just 31% of the filed petitions for compensation. 31%! $4 billion. In 2011, the Supreme Court also declared that government-licensed and recommended childhood vaccines mandated by states are unavoidably unsafe. But wait, it gets worse. Fauci recently made false statements before Congress about MMR vaccine reactions in what appeared to be an attempt to reassure legislators that vaccines are completely safe and do not cause serious reactions such as encephalitis. What's that? Brain inflammation. And this is reported by NVIC's Barbara Lowe Fisher. She says, on February 27, 2019, the U.S. House Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations held a public hearing on confronting a growing public health threat, measles outbreaks in the U.S. That was also broadcast live on C-SPAN. Parents across the nation watched and heard the renowned Anthony Fauci, MD, either tell a bold-faced lie or show his ignorance when he testified under oath that MMR vaccines does not cause encephalitis. This large dose of disinformation drew gasps of protest from parents attending Capitol Hill hearing and prompted committee chair Diana DeGette to bang the gavel and warn that manifestations of approval or disapproval of the proceedings is in violation of the rules of the House and this committee. She had to stop those in attendance from reacting. It is really hard to watch a distinguished physician like Dr. Fauci mislead legislators by blatantly denying the damage that serious vaccine reactions like brain inflammation can do to children's brains. But there's more. Dr. Nancy Messonnier, director of the CDC's National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases, also misinformed legislators holding the congressional hearing that was broadcast live and watched by families across the nation. Messonnier said, there are rare instances in children with certain very specific underlying problems with their immune system in whom the vaccine is contradicted. But she said that the MMR vaccine does not cause brain swelling in healthy children, and that parents would know if their child was at risk beforehand because their child's doctor would tell them if this were the case. Really? Tell me why the doctor would actually tell the parent if the child was at risk for something that they're paid to administer. Wait, did I say that out loud? Do I have proof? No, I don't. But explain to me how it is that this woman can make this statement. Somebody, anybody. 773-789-STEW. 773-789-7839, or jump into the stew pot. You can remain anonymous. You don't have to put your name. Somebody, anybody. Fisher goes on to present evidence for why Fauci and Messonnier are both wrong and are in fact presenting Congress with false information. For starters, the MMR vaccine packet insert published by Merck states that encephalitis and encephalopathy have been reported approximately once for every 3 million doses of MMR2 or measles, mumps, and rubella containing vaccine. Approximately once for every 3 million doses. But that says that it's possible. The vaccine information statement that doctors are by federal law required to give parents before their children receive a CDC recommended vaccine states that severe adverse effects of the MMR and MMRV vaccines include, ready? Deafness, long-term seizures, lowered consciousness, and brain damage. It's in the pamphlet. One of the moderate adverse events associated with the MMRV vaccine is encephalitis. The moderate. Fisher goes through some of the medical literature showing the MMR vaccine can cause encephalitis and encephalopathy. That's just a horrible word to say. And for more data, you can actually look up Fisher's article. And in it, she states, parents who trusted and did what they were told to do when they took their healthy children into a doctor's office to be vaccinated and then watched their children suffer brain inflammation and regress into chronic poor health learn that it is not a good idea to believe everything that a doctor says about vaccines. They learn the hard way. People who were healthy got vaccinated and were never healthy again. They quickly learn how to tell the difference between a doctor telling the truth about vaccine safety and one who is not, because their lives depend upon it. If public health officials can go before Congress and provide demonstrably false statements about MMR vaccine reactions, what else are they fooling the public about? So, we're not the only ones that smell something fishy here. In a February 25, 2019 letter to the Oversight and Investigations Committee, Physicians for Informed Consent urged the committee to make note of and correct a number of errors in its memorandum for its confronting a growing public health threat, measles outbreaks in the U.S. meeting. And among the errors, the claim that 1 or 2 deaths occur per 1,000 children who acquire measles is an erroneous calculation error. At most, there is 1 death per 6,000, but more likely 1 death per 10,000. For an explanation of the data for these figures, you have to check out the original letter. The claim that the CDC has determined that receiving the MMR vaccine is safer than getting any of the viruses has not been scientifically demonstrated, according to the Physicians for Informed Consent. In 2017, it quotes, "We reported in the British Medical Journal that every year an estimated 5,700 US children, approximately 1 in 640, suffer febrile seizures from the first dose of the MMR vaccine, which is 5 times more than the number of febrile seizures expected from measles. This amounts to 57,000 febrile seizures over the past 10 years due to MMR vaccine alone. As 5% of the children with a history of febrile seizures progress to epilepsy, a debilitating and life-threatening chronic condition, the estimated number of children whose epilepsy is due to MMR vaccine in the past 10 years is 2,850. In addition, we contend that the vaccine adverse event reporting system, VAERS, as a passive surveillance system, does not adequately capture vaccine side effects, and that serious side effects, including permanent neurological harm and death from the MMR and other vaccines, may similarly be underreported." Speaking out against calls for forced vaccinations, the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons sent a statement on federal vaccine mandates to the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions on February 26, 2019, saying forced vaccinations are unnecessary and violate human rights, and that the AAPS, American Physicians and Surgeons, the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons, strongly opposes federal interference in medical decisions, including mandated vaccines. With all the uncertainty surrounding the safety and the efficacy of vaccines, please understand that it is important to protect your right to make independent health choices and exercise voluntary informed consent to vaccinations. It is urgent that everyone that lives in the US make sure to have their voice heard against vaccine informed consent protections in the state in state public health and employment laws. Get active in your community. Look up your information, spread the word, talk about it, talk to your friend, question your doctor. These are the little things that make a big difference. And if you believe that there is not a risk in these vaccines, you do the research. Do it. Don't just take what I have come across and presented tonight as gospel. Go ahead. Look up the rest of it. Tell me what you find. Because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that has come across this information. It is out there. This is very recent. This is not just something pulled out of last year's hat. No. Don't get it twisted. We need to be aware. And where you know how knowledge is power. It's only power when you put it to use. And that's kind of like, that's basically what we have to do. We have to put it to use. But let's go ahead and attain the knowledge first, yeah? And then collectively, we can put it to some use. Big Pharma is a real giant. And for individuals to be going up against these giants, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose. But so was David in the story of David and Goliath. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. For the sake of our children and our children's children, I think we owe it to them. And we owe it to ourselves. Because even as adults, we are it's the recommendation is there that we get these vaccinations, these boosters also. But think of our children mostly and what they're gonna have to go through suffering from some of these effects of some of these vaccines, the ones that do not work. What do we do?
Stand tall, flat-footed on the ground.
Want to say thanks to Sir Rockwell and the Wake Up and Live show.
Take your best shot, yo. Is that all you got? No.
This segment of the show is sponsored by the Wake Up and Live show.
You never see me cry, no, never see me cry.
It's called our musical therapy.
Diamond, you know I'm strong like
And if there's one thing that we're gonna need after information like this,
diamond.
it's musical therapy.
Knock me down, but I won't stay down. Tough like a diamond.
Playing in the background,
Strong like titanium. Knock me down, I get back on my feet. I'm
sound of novelty,
tight.
tough like a diamond. From the Women in the Arena compilation on the Kemet rhythm.
I don't think you heard me, you might as well give up. Every time you shoot me down, I get back up. I won't surrender, I'm not a quitter. No white flag in my sky. You never see me cry, no, never see me cry. My only cry is my battle cry. Like, oh, 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 yeah, can't keep me down, no, can't keep me down, no, oh, oh, yeah.
If there's one thing that we all need to have right about now, is our battle cry. For real.
Tough like a diamond, strong like titanium. Knock me down, but I won't stay down. Tough like a diamond, strong like titanium. Tough like a diamond. Knock me down, but I won't stay down. Tough like a diamond, strong like titanium. Tough like a diamond. Knock me down, I get back on my feet again. Can't keep me down, no, can't keep me down. Back broad, stand tall, back on my feet again. This is how I fight. This is how I fight.
Silence no work no more. Where are the leaders that guided us before? Yo, this is Christina. Listen, I want to big up DJ Kevin Stew. Yo, always playing the best. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you always stay current with DJ Kevin Stew. Enough love. Freedom fighters. Where are the freedom fighters?
We are the change people.
Silence no word no more.
The son of Christina Alicia.
That guided us before. Who is
A
going
track called Freedom Fighters.
Without them, it seems like our future is not secure. Evil wins when good men sit still. Action is what we need, yeah. Rise up again, freedom fighters. Where are the freedom fighters? Moral leaders. Where have you all gone? Need some heroes. Where are all our heroes? Freedom fighters. Where have you all gone? Youth get led astray by the teachings of today. Can't find a way, Malcolm X teaching gone to waste. That's the price we pay when we idle every day. We need to set a better way for the youth. Wisdom is knowledge and knowledge is true. But start help the youth and stop thinking about yourself. Evil wins when the righteous stand still. Action is what we need. Rise, freedom fighters. Where are the freedom fighters? Moral leaders. Where have you all gone? Need some heroes. Where are all our heroes? Freedom fighters. Where have you all gone? Silence no word no more. Where are the leaders that guided us before? Who is going to open the door? Without them, it seems like our future is not secure. Evil wins when good men sit still. Heroes, where are all our heroes? Where are you? Freedom fighters, where have you all gone? Freedom fighters, where are you? Freedom fighters, freedom fighters, where are you? Freedom fighters, freedom fighters, freedom fighters, freedom fighters, where have you gone? Where are my leaders, my freedom fighters, freedom fighters? Where are my leaders? Where have they all gone? Like Marcus Garvey, Paul Bogle, and Gandhi. Freedom fighters, freedom fighters. Where are you, freedom fighters?
Although my head was in the clouds, I should have heard your actions loud. I saw you cheat on some and scheme to get your way.
15 minutes to the top of the hour.
In my eyes, you were so
This is J.E.
telling lies. Strategic default was your.
from the album Reggae Prescription. This is Both Feet.
It just took one more shove to push me past the point of no return. One more disrespect and I would just to make me see. One more selfish act to show me that you were not sincere. You relied upon my blood, sweat, and tears. I've had enough. My cup is full, and
sweetest makeup, your fancy dressed up. Could not hide the scars inside. Your sweetest smile, those pretty eyes could not disguise the hurt you feel inside. Young girl,
It's only a week away for those who reside in South Florida. You get to have the opportunity to catch this guy live. Hezron will be at Blue Martini come next Tuesday alongside the Visions Band.
but if they only knew the half of the story, one would think your life must be so sunny and bright, because your heart's so well the clouds behind.
Kevin Stew.
Oh, Kevin, you're so good. Just
I know this is just a customary feeling. The moon is our deceiver that will leave you running blind. Your heart is falling. If I didn't know any better enough, I'd be falling deeper and deeper. It's true. I hear you calling. If I didn't know any better, and I'd be in love with you.
This is the sound of Wild Tree, their rendition If I Didn't Know Any Better, featuring Miss Annette Brissett. 8 minutes to the top of the hour, which means I have about 5 before I have to get out of here.
Look in the eyes of the one that I would be drawn to. I'm a moth lost in the fire. I know this is just a beautiful illusion, a case of the confusion between love and desire. Your heart is falling. If I didn't know any better enough, I'd be falling deeper and deeper. It's true. I hear it calling. If I didn't know any better, and I'd be in love with you.
she is. I didn't know any better. I want to invite you guys back tomorrow. Same time, same place. We close out the night shift week with a real talk. And tomorrow we'll be... oh boy. Tomorrow we'll be talking about promises. And... the whole idea behind them. And I have a newfound concept relating to promises, and it's interesting because my newfound concepts have been seemingly getting me into some trouble lately, but I'll do it anyway. So 10 to midnight tomorrow we're looking at promises. Real Talk Wednesday, yeah?
Youngblood Records.
Rise this morning, give thanks. Life's not guaranteed yet.
This is the sound of Phil Watkins as we roll on out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Never live to see today.
Thank you for your participation.
The ones who never heed.
Thank you for sharing.
Never live to see today.
Remember, Sir Rockwell tomorrow morning at 7 starts it off with
Never live to see today.
the Giving Thanks segment at 7 a.m. on Rotterbox.net and affiliate stations around the world.
So if you live to see another day, and
good night, Julie.
Pray, Jaja bless you with his
all being well, catch you tomorrow.
Another chance to right the wrongs from the choices that you've made. Love will guide you upon your journey. Life is much better when you know what it's worth. Let every step count. Let every move.
Sound of Phil Watkins.
Here today, tomorrow, say your day and a leader.
The track is called Today.
Youngblood Records.
Rise this morning, give thanks. This life's not guaranteed at all. At all. A lot of people never wake up this morning. Never live to see today. Oh, the ones who never heed Jaja warning. Never live to see today. Violence leave a lot of families falling. Never live to see today. A lot of innocent people falling. Don't live to see today. So if you live to see another day, I tell you don't forget to pray. Jaja bless you with his mercy. Another chance to right the wrongs from the choices that you've made. Love will guide you upon your journey. Life is much better when you know what it's worth. Let every step count. Let every move work. Here today, tomorrow, say your day and a leader. So set your mind and good liberty. With that you feel flirt. Waste your day seeking vanity. Flesh thing now go work. Walk fast from dirty liberty. Road that you know feel hurt. It best to wear a smile than to wear a dirty smirk. Remember we put Jaja first. A lot of people never wake up this morning. Never live to see today. Oh, the ones who never heed Jaja warning. Never live to see today. Violence leave a lot of families falling. Never live to see today. A lot of innocent people falling. Now live to see today. Give thanks and praise. We still fortunate. Work a breeze, spread the message, cause we still a blow breath. Life, no promise on the road where we check, but Jaja never failed me yet. Rise up in the morning, giving thanks. With life, I have a special romance. Me and good health, a slow dance. Thank you, Jah, for giving me a next chance. You see the sun, you feel the breeze, you feel the pouring. Not take life for granted. You live another day of a million no morning. As come, a lot of people never wake up this morning. Never live to see today. Oh, the ones who never heed Jaja warning. Never live to see today.
And for those who made it through today,
families falling. Never live to see today.
Don't forget to give thanks and praise.
no matter what's going on.
This is how I say good night, good morning, good afternoon, good day. Officially, Code Red.
No money in the bank.
The track called Give Thanks and Praise.
No gas in the tank. Give thanks and praise.
Catch y'all tomorrow, same time, same place.
Give thanks and praise.
Peace and love.
You still have life, so give thanks and praise. If you woke up this morning to behold the light of day, you're alive, you're not lucky, you're highly blessed. Cause others fell asleep last night and thought they'd see today. They're not here, give thanks for the day. No money in the bank, give thanks and praise. No gas in the tank, give thanks and praise. No bread, no rice, give thanks and praise. You still have life, so give thanks and praise.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulsemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.